Hey Internet, it is Gunter with MiniMishaps Games, and we are back with another 15, our second 15, peoples for the new TTRPG that we're making along with you guys. Last video, up here, we did our first 15 peoples, so we're going to start right in with number 16. Next up is our Felid, which is our feline cat counter for the Canid, and their abilities are up a tree, which essentially says they're able to climb at the same speed as their speed trait if the surface is one that can be accessed by them having claws. So sheer rock, they can't climb. Tree, up a tree, hence the name, they can climb. The second ability is lands on their feet, and this is another falling damage reduction as long as the fall was shorter than their speed trait. Next we have got our Foxkin, and this is one that has just been overwhelmingly popular with our play testers. That's alright, that's good, we like that. But the fox person has a bauble bag, which essentially means they have a bag of spontaneously manifesting mundane small items that they can put items in. The items count as being destroyed, but they could be then drawn out later. So you have sort of this ability to grow an emergency backpack of hope something can help bag. And then on the nose is the second ability of the Foxkin, which essentially means they can throw items using their skill trait and cause damage based on their impact level. Alright, next up we have got the Froggagog, and I know that is a mouthful. A frog-based person. The Froggagog in-game, in universe, there was a Froggagog that ascended to the Atlacan Pantheon, so they became a Froggagog god. Their abilities are to grapple tongue. The difficulty of holding or grappling another creature is reduced for this character, since they can use their tongue. And poison skin, which means that they can affect creatures that are in contact with poison damage, and that's a thing that lasts for a minute. Gnevil is the combination of gnome and devil for language, but it's essentially if you have a nighthorn, which is a person that has a demonic aesthetic. This is a gnome that has a demonic aesthetic. Their abilities are Pocket Dimension Pocket, which is an extraplanar space, kind of like a kangaroo pouch that's across their front, where they can hold an item as long as it's less than a 1 foot cube. And then their second ability is From the Fires, which says that they take half damage from the fire keyword. Next we've got a good old-fashioned gnome, and the abilities of the gnome. Again, this is another one of our compact creatures, but the first ability is cognitive learning, like cognitive, but two words, cognitive learning. They begin in character creation with the mech language, and the mech language is the language of machines and mechanics and androids and cyborgs, and we don't have a lot of that kind of technology in the GetherVerse at present. But when they do, they come with the mech language. And their second ability is a mouthful, but Chem, if it's easier to remember, is short for Cross-Equivocal Macrocerebral Metamagological Hyperlinguosis, which essentially means that anytime they use a neuronics ability, they have a 1 in 6 chance of confusing nearby characters and players, which hence the name. Next, right next to our gnome, we have our Goblin, and our Goblin is another compact keyword creature. Glittering Skittering is the first ability, and they gain gold at the end of any round that they took damage. And Will It Blow Up? This ability, they can use their strategy level in order to make neuronics checks. So they can kind of exchange those two traits. Next we have Graygeln, and since our dark elves are the underground keyword for elves, and our Hinterblyr are our underground keyword for Halphards, Graygeln are the underground keyword for humans. They have the ability Deep Seeing, which means that they can see through normal darkness, magical darkness, and invisibility. So that's pretty up there on the power scale. And then their second ability is the Sun is Unkind, and which basically means they take twice as much damage from the light keyword, but half as much damage from the dark keyword. So if you're used to other systems, that's Radiant and Necrotic. Loosely, this system separates darkness as a magical energy from undead, the creature keyword. So they are often paired, but not exclusively paired. So dark here being an energy that is the opposite of light energy. Again, keywords to come. I apologize, get off track. Next we've got the Halphard. I've mentioned them a couple of times. Another compact keyword creature, or character. I should be calling them characters. All of these are peoples, so they would be characters instead of creatures. Creatures being a broader collective term that would include characters, but all of the peoples are a subset of characters. Alright. Our first ability for the Halphard, Ready, Steady, Sturdy Stew. They can cook a hearty stew meal for the party, healing every ally within 10 squares for 10 health points. And obviously they can't use that ability in battle, but it is there. Second, we've got Feet on the Path. They can use their move level when they are using their strategy checks. So you'll find that there are a lot of abilities throughout the 45 people's options that do interchange the 10 traits so that one can be used in the place of another, etc. Also, we have talked a little bit about the Hinterblyr. They are next. This is the underground keyword Halphard. They have Cold Gray Hands, which essentially they can add the cold keyword. They know the cold keyword at the beginning from character creation. And then Deep Delve Digger. The Hinterblyr can anything regarding mines or mining, they can reduce the difficulty of those checks. And those are the kinds of checks that will be up to the GM to decide the scope and scale. And this whole system, remember, if you're building a system alongside it, is meant to be customizable. It's meant to be accessible and changeable and growable and malleable, and kind of based on community feedback. So until we have done more playtesting, it's in the hands of the GMs to decide what is balanced. All right. Next up, we've got Holifyre. A Holifyre is an angelic aesthetic character. They have the ability Shield of Light, which is they take half damage from the light keyword and twice as much damage from the darkness keyword. Healing Feathers. They can choose to lose health points in order to give them to another character within 10 squares. They're not allowed to lower their hit points past 1, but they can lower their hit points to 1. Next up, we have got Human. We did end up leaving humans in. We debated if they were common enough in TTRPGs to be included. But they only get one people's ability, which is that their people's ability gives them an extra class ability. So instead of having two people's abilities, they have two class abilities. So this doesn't change the traits that are added, only the ability that goes with. So, for example, the Human gives you +1 to the impact trait and +1 to the neuronics trait, but taking that second class key ability won't give you that class's additional trait pluses. So you'll get 2 from whatever class that you choose, but the second class ability is just the ability. That's complex. Go figure, humans being complicated, right? Next up, we have got Ichthyans, and I know our Latin speaking, our Latin aware, our Latin adjacent dead language. How do you don't speak a dead language? The Latin aware linguists will probably be having a heyday with our names of the character peoples here. Lots of Latin derivatives. All right, an Ichthyan is a fish person, and their first ability is Fast Fins, which means that they have the swimming keyword, and Water Breath Mastery, which means they can allow an ally that's within 1 square to breathe underwater. So that is a kind of cool little dynamic too. If you have a chain of Ichthyans, they actually take whole parties of people on adventures underwater because they can do the breathing thing. Moving right along, we have got Igneoids, which is a rock-based person. And the Igneoids' first ability is a Stone Epiderm, which means that their armor is increased by a difficulty level. Does not work against weapons of magical keywords, so non-magical weapons. And then next you've got Ambulatory Disconnection, which means they can remove their limbs or head and reattach them at any point. Only points connected to the head can be controlled by the character, and all parts take damage normally. If the total health points between the parts reduces the total number of health to 0, then all the parts die simultaneously. Alright, next we have an Imprint. An Imprint is a human that has been influenced, imprinted by an element. So, elemental parentage is the ability. Essentially, they start with a magical keyword, and that keyword, they take half damage from that keyword. And then the second one is the Gift of the Elements, and using the keyword that they chose is reduced in difficulty when they themselves use spells or weapons that have that elemental keyword. Next, we have an Insectid. An Insectid is an ant-based person. Little confusion here because the language is also called Insectid, and all of the insect and arachnid and creepy crawly based characters all speak Insectid, so that's one unifying language, and the specific peoples called Insectids are ant based, so you'll see others in the list, but they will have different names for that peoples. First ability is a Hive Strategy. They get an extra level of strategy if there's at least one other Insectid next to them. And times their body weight, they can carry a character if that character is one size larger than them or smaller. Alright, we have got our second set of 15 peoples finished, and there's one more video coming with the last 15. We appreciate you guys so much for supporting these videos. If you want to support us with dollars, we appreciate that. We have a Patreon, all of that's in the video description. Thank you again. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, Internet.